Okay, again, good evening, everyone. And again, thank you for joining, everyone. So, as we all know, today will be our kind of last class until we start in June. So, maybe again we can start with watching our breath mindfully for a few moments to quiet our mind, to settle down our mind. Then we can try to generate good intentions by thinking, by coming here together, listening, and engaging in discussions, questions and answers, reflecting on the meanings, contemplating on the meanings. May all of these become cause and conditions to actualize all the lamrim realization within our mind stream and all sentient beings. Having actualized all the lamrim realizations, may we be able to attain fully awakened state as soon as possible, so we can help and benefit to liberate all sentient beings from all their suffering, cause of suffering, to ultimate happiness of fully enlightened state. Okay, so then we can share the refuge and go to the prayer. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Shodam Soge Chonam La Chanchu Patu Dane Kyapsu Che Dagi Sheshe Gibe Sonamge Dola Benje Sangye Dubash Sangye Shodam Soge Chonam La Chanchu Patu Dane Kyapsu Che Dagi Sheshe Gibe Sonam Dola Benje Sangye Dubash. So we have been discussing on the lamrim or the stage of the path by following particular verses from the Lama Chopa. And we have finished, the small scope, the practice of small scope, middle scope, great scope. And then having finished the common path, then entering the Tantra or Vajrayana practice. And in order to enter that, then first receiving the empowerment to ripen the mind. and wrapping the mind through the empowerment, then keeping the those samaya and the vows purely. And by keeping those samaya and vows purely, then engaging with the Vajrayana practice, the path. And last week we talked about a little bit about the 4 class or the type of the tantric practices. And then we came to the highest yoga tantra. And in highest yoga tantra, as I mentioned a little bit last week, about the path of generation stage and completion stage. So in terms of the generation stage, so then we try to transform ordinary birth into the Dhammakaya, trying to transform the intermediate stage, the Pardo, into Sambhavakaya, and transforming the ordinary birth into a Nirmanakaya. So transforming the 3, dead, Pardo, and rebirth into the 3 bodies of the Buddha, 3 kayas, again through more visualizations, through generating and visualizations. So that was the verse I think we finished last week. And again, the main practice of the Tantra or Vajrayana is that we need to have the good foundation of the 3 principles except the path, or 3 small 3 practice or 3 scope. On top of those practice, then in tantric there is certain different technique, and the practice through the technique of the tantra in generation stage is to transform our ordinary appearance into a pure appearance, and transform ordinary grasping into a divine pride. And so that is, as I mentioned a little bit last week, when you have ordinary view of ourselves or ordinary view of the other people's, ordinary view of the environment, then many delusion arises. But when we are able to see ourselves as a deity, when you are able to see the environment as a mandala, when you are able to see all other sentient beings as a deity, then there is no space to feel upset, angry, hatred for others, because we don't get anger, hatred for the Buddha, So therefore, you don't have self-feeding, self-loading, and self-hatred for oneself. Neither we have such kind of anger and hatred and bad feeling towards others, because you are able to see all as a deity. Also, environment doesn't bother you because you see everything as a pure mandala, And then not only that, then again, normally we have this ordinary appearance, and then also not only ordinary appearance, then we have also ordinary grasping, feeling I'm such a horrible person, I'm a useless person, I'm incapable, all of that. But we change that kind of self-pity and all this kind of negative thought about ourselves by holding divine pride, by visualizing and holding, as a deity, pure deity. And same we do with others. That's part of the training, So the part of training in, not only to see ourselves deity and not just visualize Buddha, but to be able to see all sentient beings as a deity, as Buddha. Because because everyone has that potential, the Buddha nature in them. So that I think that was the verse that we finished last week, and that is in terms of the Lama Choba verses. That was verse number 110, and so today we are in 111, practicing the completion stage of the highest yoga tantra. And then here say, I seek your blessing to actualize in this life the path, uniting clear light and illusory body, which arise from the placing your feet, my Savior, on the eighth petal of my heart, at the very center of my central channel. So again, in terms of the completion stages, again, anyway, without the initiation, of course, we are not even allowed to talk so much about them. Neither I have the capacity to talk so much detail on the completion stages, because I'm not there. I'm still on beginning. So anyway, the main practice of on the completion stage is to transform our ordinary body into the illusory body. Not just visualization now anymore. Of course, in the generation stages is more visualizing, but now actually you transform your body through practice. Into illusory body, and then transform, manifesting the clear light mind, and using that more subtle clear light mind to meditate on ultimate reality. So we can, through that clear light mind and illusory body, then you enter through the 4 stages of the path on the highest yoga tantra, the path of isolation of body, the path of isolation of the speech, the path of isolation of the mind, and then the path of unifying. And through that, then you achieve the enlighten the Vajradhara. And our illusory body become the cause for the Rupakaya body, and our transform into Rupakaya body, and then our clear light mind transform into the Dhammakaya, body. And so through that, then you achieve the 2 kayas, all 4 kayas simultaneously. Now your mind has been transformed in Dhammakaya, the Buddha, fully enlightened, as well as your body has been transformed into the Rupakaya. So I think maybe that might be okay. I think maybe it will go. Yeah, no need to go detail now. And then next one, 112. If my time of the death comes before I have completed the point of the path, so if we are unable to actualize the path, whether it is completion path, whether it is the generation path, or whether it is the common path, such as renunciation, bodhicitta and wisdom relies on emptiness. If we are able to, if we life come to the end before we are able to actualize those realizations, the path, I seek your blessing that I may be led to a pure land through the instructions for correctly applying the 5 powers, or the Guru's transference of consciousness, the forceful means to enlightenment. So then, at the time of death, applying the 5 forces or 5 power to be born in the pure land. And once you are born in pure lands, you continue to receive the teachings without the suffering of the samsara. And then we continue to progress on the path and achieve enlightenment in that. And so, of course, there are many different practices, to take a rebirth in the pure land, many different practices. But here in Kadamba traditions, then one of the methods to be born in a higher rebirth, as well as in pure, such as pure land, is through the practice of 5 powers, the power of virtues or white seed, and that is at the time of death, at the time of death, once we know the day is coming close, near, even though we can't be sure, because death could come any moment, any time, suddenly. But in generally, when we know that it's coming closer, then, the power, the force of white seed of virtues, what it means is then we try to clear all the things, You need to give some things, whatever you need to give, whether you want to make offering to the holy objects, Buddha, Dhamma, Sanghas, whether you want to give to charities, whether you want to give someone's, we try to clear all the things, the wealth, so that you don't have any clinging and grasping at the time of death. When you don't have clinging and grasping, then you will have a more peaceful death, less struggle. When you are attached to something, whatever that object might be, your body is ready to live, your mind is not ready to live. Your attachment is holding your mind. So there is a disharmony between your body and the mind. So there is a lot of struggles. So we don't want to have that struggle, because you have struggles, then a lot of other fear could arise, and many other emotions arise. And that kind of different negative emotions arising can affect from what kind of transition or rebirth we have. So we want to be able to pass away very peacefully. And so we clear it. There are stories, where one person, was struggling. It's time for him to go, but he was not unable to go. It's something holding his mind, and a lot of struggles. And then someone asked advice from one of the teachers, lamas, and then lama said, "Oh, he's still attached with his ornament. He was wearing an ornament, and he was still attached with that, and told, take that away. Once he take it away, then he passed away peacefully. So his mind was still holding, grasping, attached to that, And so that is why also it is advised when someone is dying, when you are taking care of them, it's better to keep any object that they might be attached away from their side. Because if they see that object and this is something you are attached to, then We still cling and grasp on that. And we don't want that, So getting rid of all things, basically, so that you have no more clinging, grasping, no more waiting. So that we can have more calm, peaceful transitions from that. Yeah. So that is what it means, the force of white seed or the virtues. And then the force of the power of motivation or intentions. So again, at the time of when the death is coming near, when you feel that they're coming, then you try to cultivate a strong intention, motivations to actualize the two bodhicitta mind, the relative and the ultimate bodhicitta mind within our mind stream. If not before death, may we be able to actualize at the time of the intermediate stage karma. If we are not able to actualize at that, may we be able to actualize in the next stages. So cultivating strong intention, motivations to continue to practice the bodhicitta mind and continue to actualize that bodhicitta mind within ourselves. Cultivating strong intention, motivation to do that. Because the motivations and intentions drive our mind. So we want to direct our mind in something more virtuous, something more powerful, something more meaningful. So that is power of the motivations. So generally strong motivation, no matter what happens, no matter whether it's my death is going to be painful or less painful, physically, whether it's going to be discomfort or comfort, whatever happens, that I will not let go of that bodhicitta mind. I will try to hold the bodhicitta mind. I'll try to practice love, compassion, bodhicitta mind. So having that strong motivation, intention, very, very important in that stages. It is important in our everyday stages, but especially that stages, because what state of mind we have at the time of death very much affect what kind of rebirth we have. Because they are so close, those two minds. It's just like what state of mind I am now, it will affect in 1 hour what kind of state I am, because they are very close. If I'm upset because of someone before, it will still affect my mind now, because it's so fresh. The same way, that state of mind at the time of death affect the next, and so that to have that kind of motivation, intention is very, very important. And then power of humility, the power or the force of humility. And then how much even time we might have, left. It could be 1 year, it could be a few months, it could be a few weeks, it could be a few days, it could be a few hours. Whatever time is left with us, we try to practice the bodhicitta mind as much as possible. And familiarize our mind with that practice by practicing again and again and again. If you can do that, even in the Pardo stage, you will be able to practice that because of familiarity, because strong imprint. And not only that, then also you will be able to practice that in the next life because you have so strong imprint in that practice. It's still so fresh. strong imprint, strong familiarity. So we try to familiarize with that practice. And if possible, we can do practice with Tonglen. By me experiencing the death, by me experiencing whatever suffering that comes with the death, may no one have to experience that. May I be able to experience on behalf of everyone so that no one have to experience such pain and suffering. May everyone's suffering come on myself. Cause of all suffering come on myself. May I be able to take on them. May all my happiness, goodness, excellence be ripened on everyone else. Everyone, may all of my virtues, may all of my, so we try to do that as much as possible. And by using the breath, if you use the breath, as you breathe in, you think all the sufferings, cause of suffering, taking yourself as you breathe in, as you breathe out, you think you are sending all your virtues, all your goodness, all your excellence to others. So if we can do that Tonglen, Tonglen practice is a very powerful practice of Bodhicitta to develop the Bodhicitta mind. So we try to do that as much as possible. And to be able to practice at the time of death, we have to practice now. Because at the time of death, our mind is weak, our body is weak. Even you want to practice, it will not be easy, unless you are very familiar with that practice. If we start practicing now, because you have done so much practice familiar, you don't require so much effort. And so even you are weak, you can do that. Someone can remind you, or you might be able to remember yourself, or someone can help to remind. And then you can practice that without much difficulties, even when you feel very weak, because it doesn't require a lot of effort. Because you have been so practicing that so long, familiarity. Otherwise, someone who has not practiced before, then someone tries, oh, you practice this, you think this, it will be very difficult. Because they are trying to do something they have never used to it. Even now, when we are healthy, still it's not easy, isn't it? If someone give you a practice that you are not used to it takes time before we get used to it, before we get familiar. And so therefore, that is again important why we need to engage in a practice now in order to be, to be able to practice at that time. And if we are able to die with the Bodhicitta mind, then, you are guaranteed you will have a better rebirth, higher rebirth. Even if you don't find any teachers, anyone to pray for you, you have guaranteed yourself to have a better rebirth because of that practice in Bodhicitta mind. Otherwise, there's no guarantee. We can ask the high lamas to pray for us. We can ask the monks, other people to pray for us. There's help, definitely there's help, but it doesn't guarantee, 100% doesn't guarantee. But if you die with the compassion in mind, if you die with the loving kindness mind, if you die with Bodhicitta mind, whether there's someone to pray or whether there's no someone to pray, you have guaranteed yourself to a higher rebirth. That is why important to be able to go with that kind of mind, to be able to die with that loving kindness, compassion, Bodhicitta mind. Then you don't have to worry. You don't have to be fearful. What is going to happen next? Where am I going to end up? What will happen to me? Where will be enough people who pray for me? Will my teacher pray for me? All of that, we don't have to worry. You have guaranteed yourself through your own practice. through our own that, that is the best power. That is the best power. The other power, not so sure. Maybe yes, maybe not. We cannot guarantee. This one, we can guarantee. And it's very much as it says here. And His Holiness the Lama also always emphasize that. It's also and that's the best way to pass. And then, if you have an inspiration for a particular pure land, and then you recite, you have the faith towards the Buddha of that pure land, and you recite the mantra with that faithful, and with that bodhicitta mind, you make inspirations to be born in that, and you dedicate, and then you can be born in that pure land as well. Whatever pure land that you someone connect. But it's just by reciting the name and just by having faith itself is not enough to be born there. Another condition that we need is loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind. It's also another factors. So that's the power of the humility, the force of power. So those are the third. The fourth one, the power or the force of yeah, I'm trying to find the right English word. I'm unable to find. Number 20. I think, again, maybe meaning, maybe it's not exact literal, but meaning, as Lama Zopa Rinpoche translates from meaning, blaming the ego. So what it means at the time of death, different emotion could arise, different kind of emotion could arise. We don't know what is going to happen at that time. Sometimes fear might arise. Sometimes sadness could arise because we are going to be separated from our loved ones. You feel now you will not see them. Fear could arise. Sadness would arise. Worry could happen. When I die, what will happen to my children? What will happen to my wealth? What will happen to this and that? Worry could arise. Feeling of regret, guilt could arise from the past, what we have done. Remember. Maybe anger could arise, Remember something has, someone did that to me, something's not nice to me. So different kind of emotion could arise. We do not know, what might arise at that moment. But whatever emotion arises, whatever negative emotion arises, being aware of them. Oh, that negative emotions arises. Being aware, recognizing that, and saying, oh, that negative emotions arising because of that egoistic mind, because of that selfish attitude, because of that self-centeredness, that selfish attitude, that egoistic mind is giving rise to all these negative emotions. Also, whatever we are feeling physically, maybe we might be feeling physically uncomfortable, discomfort, pain. Hopefully we don't have, but we never know. We hope and pray we don't have to go through that, but we don't know what will happen at that time. We can only hope and pray. And again, if any kind of physical pain, discomfort, whatever arises sensation physically, on mental level, again, recognizing them, being aware, recognizing them, all of this discomfort, all of this pain, physical, emotional, mental, they all arising because of selfish attitude, because of self-centeredness, because of that egoistic mind. With that understanding, then we make a strong determination. I have to reduce and overcome this egoistic mind, this selfish attitude, this self-centeredness, because this is the root of all this suffering and pain. And then trying to reduce that selfish attitude, self-centeredness, that egoistic mind as much as possible in whatever way we can, whatever method we have, whatever meditation we can apply to do that. So instead of whatever's going through, instead of blaming that to others or yourself, we blame to the egoistic mind, the selfish attitude, the self-centeredness. And then we try to crush that self-centeredness, that selfish attitude. And then, so that is the fourth one. Then the fifth is the power or the force of prayers. Then, of course, we try to do those meditation practice on loving kindness, compassion, boundless bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta, ultimate bodhicitta, whatever practice we can do, or other practices, going to the refuge, to the Buddha, having a devotion, faith to your guru, or to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, whatever, or reciting the mantras, the name of the Buddhas. Whatever you do at the time of that, or whether you do some kind of simple meditations, mindful meditations, or any other form of meditations, or whether you do tantric meditations, whatever different form of meditation practice you do, then again you try to dedicate, make a strong prayer and dedications, by engaging in this practice, these meditations, by creating these virtues and merits, may I never be separated from the true bodhicitta mind. Now, in the Parto, in the middle stage, in all future lives. May I never be separated from those bodhicitta mind. And may I always be able to actualize and maintain and input those bodhicitta mind throughout until we achieve enlightenment. May I never give up bodhicitta mind, no matter what circumstances, situations, good time, bad time, easy time, difficult time. When you are wealthy, when you are poor, whatever situation, may we never be separated and give up the true bodhicitta mind and making that kind of strong prayer and dedication. Not only now, but also in the future, such as Parto and all future lives. May we always meet, we dedicate and pray that may we always meet the teaching, the Dharma, that teach how to cultivate true bodhicitta mind, how to maintain, how to develop those true bodhicitta mind. May we always meet right qualified guru, teachers, who can explain us, who can inspire us, who can give us instructions how to cultivate and maintain and develop those bodhicitta mind, two bodhicitta mind. So we make that strong prayer and dedications, and that is the power of the force of the prayers. So those are the five forces or the five powers at the time of death. And that is the cause to transfer your consciousness to the Pure Land or higher rebirth. And that is the power according to Kadamba traditions. Or the Guru transference of consciousness, the fourth one. And then, of course, in some cases, it is possible. Your Guru can do power for you, But in those cases, as I mentioned, it's not anyone can do just power for anyone. If that's the case, we all will be in the Pure Land by now. So many Buddhas came so far, isn't it? They have compassion. If they have the ability to transfer our consciousness just like that, we all will be there. Why would we be here? For someone to do power for someone, the persons who are doing power, of course, have to be very highly realized, very enlightened. Not only that, then they need to have a strong connection with that person to whom they are doing. And also that person has to do certain practice, and many things have to come together. If all things come together, then there is some possibility of that. But the best thing is do ourselves instead of relying on others. Create the cause and condition ourselves. And so that is continue to practice on the bodhicitta mind now. That is the best way. That is the best conditions to have protect from the lower rebirth to a higher rebirth and to be born in Pure Land. You have the inspiration for that. And so, so that is the practice of transference of consciousness at the time of death. And then is a prayer, praying to be guided by the Guru in all future lives. I think I already mentioned that. In short, I seek your blessing, my Savior, to be guided by you from birth inseparably throughout all my lives, and thus to become your main disciples, holding every secret of your holy body, speech, and mind. So dedicating and praying that way is creating the cause and conditions to continue to meet our teachers, Guru, and continue to be guided and continue to be led on the path until we achieve enlightenment. So we have to create a cause condition through, praying, dedicating to be that. Savior, please grant all that all to be auspicious for me, to be foremost among your first cycle of disciples when you manifest Buddhahood, so that all my temporary and ultimate wishes, without exception, may be effortlessly and spontaneously fulfilled. And then observing the merit field, to receive the blessings. Having thus been entreated, the Supreme Guru, please grant this request so that you may bless me, happily come to my crown of my head, and want us again set your radiant feet firmly at the corolla of my heart lotus, and then Buddha, of course, there is a much more extensive visualizations, but again, I don't think we need to go all of that. Basically, the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru made it feel that you have visualized, then they're all kind of they are from different way it's dissolving, but to keep it short, they're all dissolved in the lamrim kava, and then lamrim kava dissolve into your heart, and then your body, speech, and mind, and lamrim kava and Vasudhara's body, enlightened body, speech, and mind become one, inseparable, and lamrim kava holding in your heart all the time. And then next is the dedications, and what virtues that were created, we dedicate as cause to enabling us to uphold the holy Dharma of scripture and realization, and to fulfill without exception the prayers and deeds of all the Tathagatas and the Bodhisattva 3 times. And by the force of this merit, may we never be parted in our lives from the Maya and the 4 wheels, and may that we reach the end of our journey along the path of renunciation, bodhicitta, right view, and the 2 stages. So I think that is, with that, we've completed the Lama Chobas, from the Lama Choba, the lamrim glines meditations. And again, so we kind of completed the whole glines meditation on lamrim from that particular Lama Chopa. So I think I will take a couple of questions. We still have few minutes. I think it's not being charged.
It's not?
Yeah. John, yes, I can see your hand, but you are not allowed to ask questions. I thought I told you not to ask questions anymore.
Well, this is an easy question, I think.
Really?
I think so, yes. In verse 112, you were saying it says through the instructions for correctly applying the 5 powers. Is there a specific text that refers to these instructions?
Yeah, you could find those instructions in some of the mind training, lojong. For example, if you read 7-point mind training, you will be able to find in 7-point mind training, especially if you get a commentary on 7-point mind training. So you can find in that. Also, if you read commentary on Lama Chopa itself, and then if you go in these sections, these particular verses, you might be able to find more detail on that, you know. And then there is a small booklet, not booklet, I guess PDF by FMG that is compiled by the Lama Sopa Rinpoche. So, you know, so you can find there are a few different, and yeah, so you can read and study from there, yeah. And I think I don't know where it is, but like also one time I did during the weekend, I think one weekend, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe 5 sessions about dying peacefully. And I think during that, then I think also there was, I went more detailed at that time. Because today we have only one hour. So, yeah.
Thank you, Geshe.
Yeah, okay. So any other questions? Yes, please.
So, organ.
Organ donors, okay.
Is that okay? Because once we take our last breath, the 4 elements of our physical body is going to dissolve. Is still doing that process.
Okay.
Yes, if we are organ donors. presented.
So here the portion is about the organ donate is okay, and I can only give my thoughts because I don't that is so clear because it's new concepts, so that you can't find those clearly from the past earlier writings. And I think those questions have been kind of asked in the His Holiness as well, in the past. First of all, I don't know when it is when they have to take the organs to make it useful. Exactly what I guess clinically death, after clinically death. Yeah. So from Buddhist point of view, even after clinical death, there is still consciousness. The gross consciousness has ceased at that time, but still there is subtle and more subtle consciousness. So then the subtle consciousness, what we call the visions of white light and red light, dark light. And then after that, then there is the clear light mind, the most subtle mind. Until those most clear light mind, the more subtle live, that still you are not fully dead, even clinically it's dead. But when clinically dead, and because all this gross consciousness has ceased, so therefore all this fear, anger, all of that are gross mind, so they all have ceased. But when he's clinically dead, all this mind have ceased, so therefore there is no arising of those minds, such as fear. During the stages of subtle and more subtle mind, there is no arising of the delusions, the fear, and all of that, because those are part of the gross mind that already exists. So that would not arise, so that wouldn't bother someone, at that time. The only different choices is for most of us, we go through that process, but we are not even aware of that whole process. You just go through it. So we are unable to use that clear light mind in our meditations. We don't have, unless you train very well while you are alive, and then maybe at the time of death, you are able to recognize and you are able to hold and use that for meditations. That's why some of more advanced meditators do that. And for someone who has that kind of ability, to use that clear light mind in their practice meditation, maybe not offering donor might be a better idea, because when you donate the organs, then when they started to move, then your consciousness will live, So, so that is why when someone dies, we don't want to disturb them for a certain period, until their certain consciousness are left. As much as possible, we try to keep it, without disturbing them, But for most of people, they wouldn't have be able to use that anyway, that mind. And so if they want to donate, because it can save someone's life, it can help someone, I don't think there is that kind of bodhicitta mind. The motivation of love, compassion, to give a life to someone, to save many lives, to help and benefit others, then I don't think it's wrong to do that. The only things making the choice for someone practitioner who have that access, maybe they would like to use, because that mind is so powerful in meditation, you can make a huge progress on your spiritual path. But most of the ordinary people will not be able to use it anyway. That clear mind will just go through it, even not being aware of it. Just like, at the moment, many thoughts are going in my mind and I'm not even aware of that, many of them. We only are selectively remembering some thoughts. It's not only that it's happening that many thoughts are going, many feelings are going at the same time. And sometimes we remember some of those thoughts. We recognize that thoughts, but sometimes we don't recognize in the same way. Even we go that thoughts, we don't. So yeah, that would be my thoughts, But at the same time, I don't have any concrete to rely on any particular reasons to say that, Yes. Yes.
So gross mind means that gross mind, so the pain goes away from gross mind.
It will go. The painful, the pains, the feeling of pain, gross mind, the feeling of, the fear, worry, all of that, and also, all the sense are gone, So feeling of pain is a sense, bodily senses. So all the 5 sense consciousness have already dissolved. Not only all the 5 sense consciousness, even all the gross mental consciousness have dissolved. Only what is left is the very subtle mental, subtle consciousness and more subtle consciousness. And so the pain is a physical sensations. And so it's part of 5 senses, and that have already been dissolved by that time.
So are you saying in the gross mind, you don't feel anything, but you still have a conscious and unconscious in the body?
No, gross mind can feel the senses are part of the gross mind. For example, the bodily senses is part of the gross mind. And so when your bodily senses, you can feel the pain. If someone hit me or someone cut me. But as we go through the death process, then all these sense will dissolve and also mental consciousness will dissolve. So then you have no more feelings, pain. Even someone cut you, don't feel it. But still, you can still have someone can still have subtle consciousness. But even someone hit the body, they will not feel it because the sense consciousness no more there. There's a subtle mental consciousness at that point.
How about the soul?
Soul?
Yeah, the soul still within the body, or the soul is within the body?
The soul, we don't have the concept of soul, because soul is, when you use the soul, we will rather use the term consciousness of the mind, okay? There are many different levels of consciousness of the mind. Gross level of mind, subtle level of mind, more subtle level of mind. When you are clinically dead, the gross mind is no more there. But still someone could still have subtle and more subtle consciousness. So it's still in body, but it's very subtle. And the moment, so first gross consciousness cease or dissolve, then the subtle mind dissolve and cease, and then lastly, the more subtle mind, what we call clear light mind, at the time of death. And when that consciousness leaves, then that is, from the Buddhist point of view, then that is real death happening. But clinically, the death has happened already earlier.
So you know the time frame, for example, a person heartbeat stop, and then there's no brainwave. What was 3 stages of? How long was 3 stages of?
Yeah, there is no specific timeline. For some people, the subtle mind might be gone very quickly, even within an hour. For some, it could last day, 1 day. For some, 3 days. Some, meditators, they use that more subtle mind. They can remain for 20 days, month, even just recently, just recently, maybe even less than a month ago, there were two Geshes in South India, Gandhi. One of them stayed 9 days, clinically dead, but still, still the heat is there. Body doesn't smell. Even the heat in South India is a very hot heat, without any chemical, without any ice, anything, just and very alive. Another Geshe stay for 21 days. We call them Thubten meditations. And many of the scientists, doctors came because His Holiness wanted them to do more research on that. So many scientists and doctors came with all the missions, and they have no idea to explain, but they are very surprised to see they cannot explain at this point from their point of view. And what is the person who take care of the dead body more, what do you call?
Mortician. Mortician.
Morticians. Also morticians came and from India, Indian morticians there. And what I heard after that, when they asked him what he think and he said he have never experienced that all his life, even though he has taken of dead bodies so much. He's just surprised. He cannot explain how it happens, but he's surprised that someone's body in that state, even after 21 days, he had never seen that before. And from Buddhist point of view, the explanation that still because the more subtle mind is still there. Even clinically they are dead, but because more subtle mind is still there, therefore that is why they are able to be in that without decaying, even after 21 days, without their body decaying, smelling, and all of that. So that could differ from individuals' practice as well as ordinary. Sometimes due to karma, some of them constantly more quickly than others. Yes.
I'm curious why would if you want to stay for 21 days? What's the intention?
The intention, this more subtle mind is very powerful mind. So they want to use that mind. Normally we don't have access to that mind. That more subtle mind. We don't have access. We have only access to the gross mind. But when we go to the die, naturally the gross mind ceases and those subtle minds manifest. And then they take the opportunity of that mind. Not, because there's no more gross mind, then there's no even distractions. If you can use that mind, distractions are part of gross mind. And so that mind can be extremely powerful for meditations. And so they are using that mind for meditations.
Meditation before they are reborn to.
Yeah.
So they waited for life for that moment.
Some of them could be waiting for that moment, for their life. Some of them can have access to the clear light mind even before death by opening their channels, and the different method. But even you are unable to access at the time before the death, then at the time of death, naturally you have access to that, and then they utilize that to use that for their practice meditations. Okay, any questions there? I guess everyone is very enlightened, I guess. Glad to see all of you have been very enlightened. So, yeah.
It's because of your teachings, Geshe.
Oh, yeah? Okay. I feel good about that. Okay, if we don't have question, then we do the final dedications.
Geshe, Israel, do you have one?
Oh, I was just going to say that we have such a good teacher on the path to enlightenment. We're all blessed.
Maybe that is why we all are still in samsara. Not only you are in samsara, I'm still in samsara. Maybe that is why. But I think Israel, that I think, but you are starting to practice the pure vision, so that is okay. Pure appearance.
I'm practicing.
Good, good. Keep on.
Will do.
Okay. So Mary, you want to share the dedications?
Geshe, could we please offer you a really quick Thanksgiving mandala? Just really quick, please, pretty please. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay. And I'm sorry, my internet may cut out, so I apologize. Okay, so here goes. Geshe, on behalf of all of the students here and all the volunteers, Thubten Ling, our worldwide students and volunteers, we're so grateful and thankful to you. We will try to do our best to take your advice, but here goes quickly. Sajipu ki jushin me chok tram ri rabling ji ni degen padi sange jing du ni te uai Jokunam dakshin la choparshok. May my Venerable Lama's life be firm, his white divine actions spread in the 10 directions. May the torch of the teachings of Losang always remain, dispelling the darkness of all beings in the 3 realms. Idam Guru Ratnam Mandalakam Niryatayami. And then the dedication prayers.
May all beings everywhere plagued by the suffering of body and the mind obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtues of my merit. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depressions. May the blind see form and the deaf hear sound. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those who with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicine be effective and wholesome prayer bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be free from their ailments. Whatever disease they are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightening cease to be afraid. May those bound be free. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Okay, thank you very much again, everyone, for joining. And again, I hope you continue to study and practice, even though I might not be teaching for next 3 months, but I encourage everyone to continue to study. I encourage everyone to apply whatever we study into practice. Yeah, and so there is no end to study and practice until we become fully enlightened. And as I always say, even though I'm not teaching for a while, but again, whoever's teachings, we all are carrying the same Buddha's message. We are just a messenger of the Buddhas. And even though we might have slightly different way of presentations, but everyone is sharing the pure Dharma and same message. So you should continue to study, learn, and practice. That is my kind of last word for this time.